Hello and welcome to the Sports Bench with Greg and friends. Tonight we're back on the subject with the Los Angeles Lakers. I am making this video a day before the NBA draft, which is Tuesday tomorrow, and just want to talk about the Lakers again and what they're going to maybe do in here in the draft. But the Lakers have a lot of in-house cleaning up to do here in the next day. I don't know if they're going to be involved in any major trades. They certainly have been part of major trades in the past, so it wouldn't be surprising to see something happen. But if I were the Lakers, you have to think about, and they have in the past, they basically traded off all of their youth. They're always going for a win now, especially with Luka Doncic now on the team. So going with the win now, I question kind of their priorities right now in the offseason. So it's a win now. So you have Luka Doncic signed, but you don't have LeBron James signed and you don't have Austin Reaves signed. So think about that. All right. Their priority, what they're saying is that their priority is signing Austin Reaves. But what everybody is saying is that Austin Reaves is going to want the max contract, which means between $40 and $50 million a year. And everybody's questioning whether or not, well, do you really want to pay that much for somebody? But what happens is, with these kind of situations is other teams can come in and sneak away and grab your players. For example, Alex Caruso was grabbed years ago because the Lakers, again, were being cheap. They didn't want to pay him that much money, and they wanted to keep Taylor Tucker Horton instead. And of course, like I said, that was a disaster. So, I don't think they want the same thing to happen with Austin Reaves, but it could if they end up letting him go. And you think about mistakes the Lakers have made because they don't think about youth as being any part of their future with a win now. So let's just say you go ahead and you sign Austin Reaves and you sign him for $40 million. So then you should be maybe talking to LeBron. But I understand what's going on right now is the Lakers are currently talking to LeBron. So it's kind of like putting the wagon before the horse, in my opinion. My opinion about things is that that Luka Doncic wants to keep Austin Reaves as a teammate. So I think the Lakers are willing to go ahead and try to do that, but I don't know if they're going to offer him more than $40 million a year. Realistically, if they came in at like 35, I think they would be comfortable with that, but maybe Austin Reaves will not. Teams like the New York Nets are going to be offering him maybe the max contract, and maybe some other teams, because they need a scorer like him. But the other part of it is, and I've talked about this in other videos, is that Austin Reaves does not play defense. He does not aggressively play defense well. He doesn't move his feet defensively very well. So he ends up getting beat a lot. He's targeted and hunted by other teams. So do you want a max player being hunted on defense because they know that they can beat the Lakers because they have a weak player out there defensively? So then you throw in LeBron James. He's 42 years old. He's not 32 years old. So, I'm understanding that LeBron wants to try to make as much money as he can and maybe get a couple of years on a contract. So people have talked about it. I've heard it. They've talked about signing him to a $50 million contract for 2 years. And then basically that's $25 million a year, and then it would be worth him coming back. So, but I myself don't think LeBron wants to play at $25 million, and other teams can't really offer very much to him when you think about it. The mid-level exception, $9 million. Some teams have to offer, like maybe the Golden State Warriors. I don't think he's going to want to play for that low money. I just don't, But I think he wants to not retire. He wants to finish his career with the Lakers. He wants to sign with the Lakers desperately. He just does not want to take a big discount to do it. So what do you do with this? I think my opinion is you go ahead and you draft somebody in the draft. You let everything take care of itself. You sign Austin Reaves, and then you see what else you can do. Maybe if he's open to it, you can sign LeBron to a sign and trade where he can go to a team, and then the Lakers can get players back in value. Maybe something like that. But I just don't know what he's going to be comfortable with. He's not going to sign with the Lakers unless he gets a no trade clause, and that's to me a big mistake. Never sign players, especially this old. It's totally it's unrealistic. He's 42 years old. He's not 32. So a no trade clause in there doesn't make sense for the team. You're giving the player all the leverage again. So the Lakers can't make that mistake with him. They can't give him leverage. Basically, they need to tell him what they're willing to do, if they're willing to do something, and then let it go from there. Myself, you free up that money after you sign up Austin Reaves, you're going to have maybe $25-30 million left. You can maybe go out and get a couple of young 3-and-D players, which you desperately need on defense, since you have two players on the starting five with Luka and with Austin Reaves that don't play defense very well. So you need some strong players. Now, let's talk about the NBA draft. The Lakers are in the 25th position. There's been talking about mega deals being made where the Lakers are going to try to trade for somebody. And I myself think that it's a mistake, because what they desperately need is an all-star center. They need the lob threat. They need a big guy to play against these teams like the Oklahoma City team, and also against the Spurs. You got the two big, tall, toothpick centers, and they're very offensively talented. But what they both don't like is being physical with somebody else. Other players, you saw it with the New York Knicks, and they had Robinson. They had a couple of other centers out there, and basically what they did is they muscled them all the time. I mean, you saw that Wemby was muscled, and he was uncomfortable with it. He was getting pissed, and basically I think you saw some frustration from him, especially in the last part of games, because he's being muscled so much. The Lakers need to model it that way, not so much the lob threat. It's great to have a lob threat, but what you really need is somebody that can muscle, that can dunk the ball, that can get position, that can push his way, these guys out of their way, like Wemby and all these type of players. Chad Holmgren, same thing. Push him out of the way. He's thin. He has to really crouch low to try to muscle up against the guy that's big and muscular. So, yes, you could go out and maybe trade several players and draft picks and maybe get a player that will fit that at the center position. But I think the Lakers have a guy in the draft that they've already invited to camp and they've evaluated, and it's Terrence Reed. He's a 6'11 center, 270 pounds. He's a big guy, and he's built from the bottom up. His legs, his thighs, his hips are big. He's muscular. This guy could make a difference with the Lakers. He's young. He has no injury history, in which other centers that are about the same level in the draft, there are some of them that have some injury histories. Don't draft somebody that has a current injury history. Don't do it. Don't do the Sam Bowie thing. Okay, that's what the Blazers did years ago, because he was a talented center, but he had an injury history. And sure enough, it showed up after a couple of years with him. He was never the player that he was supposed to be. He could never do it because he was injured all the time. And the Blazers could have drafted Michael Jordan. So, hey, So anyway, yeah, use your pick wisely, but get yourself a big center, not an average center. Get yourself a big guy that can push his way around. 6'11", 7 foot, 265, 280 pounds. That's a good sized guy. He can make a difference in a game. It doesn't matter if he can score a lot, because the Lakers don't need that. They already have a ton of scorers. What they need is defensive players, 3-and-D guys, young 3-and-D guys, and need to have a young center who can make it up and down the floor and can muscle these guys. And that's how you're going to beat teams like the Spurs and teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, is you need to have that big center. It was proven. It was the blueprint with the Knicks. I said before in the video, who's going to win? The experienced guys with New York that brought in all these different players that they signed, and they have these big centers, or would it be the Spurs, young team that had all kinds of young players on it, Wemby playing really so well? The Knicks won, and congratulations to them. I'm very happy for the Knicks. I am, with the guys on there. They all have a story, and it's a wonderful, wonderful situation to see them win. But basically, San Antonio was there. They made mistakes, and what it was basically wasn't that the fact they weren't playing defense. They played miraculous defense. They were all over the court. These young guys, man, they had so much energy. They weren't tired. Everything went great. But then you had DeAndre Fox. And, if you've read anything about it, everybody was saying, this guy is not stepping up. He's going to be a max contract guy, and yet he's not stepping up in the big moments, and he didn't do it. He missed a ton of shots. He made a ton of mental mistakes. And the coach, Johnson, stayed with him. Well, shame on you, because, the experts and people were telling you, let's go ahead and start your rookie instead. Dylan Harper would have been the better guy to put the ball in his hands for. He'd never been there before, but yet he was playing very well. That's what you have to do. In-game coaching is find out who the best 5 players are in the 3 quarters before the 4th quarter, and then in the 4th quarter you go with the players that are making the shots, that are stepping up, that are playing defense, aren't making mental mistakes. And Coach Johnson, you didn't do that. All right, well, tonight that's my video. Thank you for watching. Be interesting to really see how the draft works out tomorrow. So let's hope it goes well for the Lakers. That's my video. Thank you for watching again. And if you'd like, give me a like, please do. If you'd like, subscribe. That'd be great. You guys have a great night, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.